Hello everyone. So in this video we are going to see what is generative AI. So it's a type of AI that creates content. It generates content based on the prompt that we provide. So how does it create content? So there are models that are built that power generative AI. These models are trained on huge amounts of data. So these models take input prompt and generate output. The output generated by these models resembles human generated output. So it can generate new content, ideas, or data that can be possibly generated with examples. So it all depends on the prompt that you provide as an input to the model. So these generative AI models can create content in various formats. For example, it can create content in text, image, audio, video. So each model is trained to generate specific format of outputs that mimic human responses. For example, OpenAI has developed models GPT. The current version is GPT-4. It generates text based on the input prompt that you provide. Then again we have DAL-A. It generates images based on input prompts. Then again we have Jukebox. It generates sounds or music based on input prompt that we provide. Next, we have Sora that generates videos or movies based on the input prompt that we provide. So all these the above models that we have discussed takes input text in and generates output in the specific format that they are trained for. So all these models are trained on huge amounts of data. Okay, so I hope you have understood what is generative AI. So initially, when I started this lecture, I told generative AI is a type of AI. So let's discuss the types of AI that we have. Okay, so we have AI. So AI is any machine that mimics human intelligence. So we can categorize AI as any machine that mimics human intelligence. So the subset of AI is machine learning, ML. Machine learning is the subset of AI. Then we have deep learning. So again, deep learning is subset of artificial neural networks where algorithms learn from large amounts of data to identify patterns and make decisions. So this is where the deep learning comes, DL. So next, generative AI. When we see generative AI, this is where generative AI comes. So this is where generative AI sits. So let's look at the definitions of types of AI. So first we talked about artificial intelligence. So it focuses on creating machines that mimic human intelligence, that is capable of performing tasks that require human intelligence. Okay, so this is AI. Then what is machine learning? So machine learning is a subset of AI. So it involves algorithms and statistical models that enable computers to improve their performance through continuously learning through experience. So this is ML. Next we have deep learning. So deep learning is a subset of ML. So it's a subset of ML based on artificial neural networks where algorithms learn. So here algorithms learn from large amounts of data sets and it identifies patterns and make decisions. This is deep learning, which is subset of machine learning. So next we have generative AI. So this is one of the type of AI. So it uses foundation models to generate content based on the vast amounts of data that it has been trained on. So let's discuss what are foundation models. So foundation models are large scale AI models that has been trained on vast amount of data. Okay, so it's a large scale AI models trained on vast amounts of data. It's a huge amount of data it has been trained on, and it's highly versatile. So the foundation models are highly versatile and it can be adapted for wide range of tasks. Okay, so generative AI itself is one of the application, one of the use case of foundation models, and generative AI uses these models to create new content. So when it comes to Gen AI, it's one of the applications of foundation models, which uses these models to create new content. Okay, so foundation models serves as underlying structure. So that means uh, so whatever the information and whatever the process enabling that is there for generative AI to produce new content or new ideas, the foundation model powers that underlying structure. Okay, so foundation models serves as underlying structure that understands and process the information, enabling generative AI. Okay, so to summarize, in short we can say foundation models are like core engine and generative AI is one of the many things that this engine can power. Okay, so in summary we can say foundation model is the core engine and generative AI is one of the many things that this model can power. Okay, so now we came to know that what powers, so what is the backbone, what powers generative AI? It's the foundation model that powers generative AI. Okay, so what are the examples of foundation models? So we have talked about what are foundation models, so what are the examples of foundation models? So foundation models are like GPT 2, GPT 3, 4. So the current version is GPT 4, and we also have BERT. This is one of the foundation model, clip, this is also one of the foundation models, and dal a, this is also one of the foundation models. So these are some of the foundation models that powers generative AI. So what powers chat GPT? It's the GPT transformer. So GPT 3.5, it powers chat GPT, the free version of chat GPT. Okay, so now let's see what are these foundation models capable of. Some of these foundation models are capable of single moda single modality. So what do you mean by single modality? Single modality means it can take only one type of input. Example, text. So there are other foundation models, there are multimodal. So we have one more term called multimodal. So these foundation models, it can take multiple inputs. For example, it can take multiple inputs such as text, file, audio, and video. So by taking all these inputs, it can generate the summaries of all these inputs collectively. Okay, and it can answer questions. So for example, if you have a PDF file, you can provide PDF file to the foundation models, and it you can question answer to learn more about what is the content in that particular PDF file. So you can answer these questions, summarize, and as well as you can generate the responses that you are looking from all these content that you have provided to that multimodal. Okay, so there is a term called large language model. So large language model and foundation models are sometimes, these terms are sometimes used interchangeably. Okay, but there is a difference between these two terms. So there's a difference to terms. So we need to understand the difference. So let's look at this image. So this image illustrates what is foundation model and what is large language model. So large language model is a subset of a foundational model. So these are the characteristics of foundational models. So it's pre-trained. That means model has already been trained on vast data set, and it is being fine-tuned to work on. I mean, it's been fine-tuned or applied to specific tasks. And next, it is generalized. So these foundation models are capable of performing well across wide range of tasks, not just once it was specifically trained for. So it's trained for wide range of tasks like summarizing, question answering, etc., etc. And also it's adaptable. The model can be easily modified or fine-tuned to suit particular needs or tasks. So these foundation models can be taken and fine-tuned to meet our needs. Next characteristics is large. The model is built with substantial architecture and trained on extensive data. So it's been trained on extensive data. So it's a complete internet data. So giving it broad understanding and capability. Also, it is self-supervised. So this model primarily it learns by analyzing and making sense of unlabeled data. So it learns on unlabeled data without explicit guidance on what to learn. So that makes it self-supervised. Okay. So when comes to large language model, all large language models are foundation models, but not all foundation models are large language models. So what does this mean? Let's understand this. So let's understand the types of foundation models that we have. So there is a generative adversarial network GANs. These models of two parts, a generator and discriminator. So this creates new data instances while discriminator evaluates them from authenticity. So generative adversarial network GAN is one of the foundational models. So these models are like game changer in image generation, so creating everything from art to realistic photos. So this is one of the foundational models. Then we have large language models. So these models such as GPT-3 and BERT, so these are trained on vast amounts of text data. So they can generate human like text and are used in applications like translation, summarization, and conversation. So then we have variational autoencoders. So these are the type of generative AI models that can generate new data that's similar to the input data. So they are often used in tasks like image generation as well. So they offer high quality images. Also, we have multimodal models. So these models can handle multiple types of data, such as combination of text and images. So they are used in tasks that require understanding and generating content across different types. So combination of text images. Then we have computer vision models. So these models are designed to understand and interpret visual data. So they are used in tasks like image classification and object detection. So each of these models they are designed to perform specific tasks and address specific challenges in the field of AI. So these are the foundation models. So when we say all large language models are foundation models, but not all foundation models are large language models. So this is how we can explain, because all large language models are foundational models. So we can see some of the foundational large language models as an example. So we saw what are the types of foundation models. So let's recap. What is large language model? Large language model, it's a type of foundation model. It's specifically designed to understand and generate text trained on huge amounts of text, which makes it good at wide range of language tasks. Okay. Also, um, so LLMs, like for example, GPT. GPT take entire sequence of words as input. So, as we talked about prompt, LLMs take input as a prompt and generate the outputs. So, one of the tasks is like take entire sequence of words as input and predict what or which word most likely to come next. Okay, so let's look an example in the chat GPT application. Okay, so here is the chat GPT application. So this is the front end of the application. It is powered by GPT. You can see this is the large language model GPT 3.5. So the free version that is available to all of us is version 3.5, and there is a GPT 4 that is advanced, and we have to upgrade for that. So that is not free. We have to subscribe for that. So let's take a sequence of words. The cat sat on. So if you give just these words, the LLMs can predict what the next word most likely be. So it has given the cat sat on the mat, classic. So and so on and so forth. So LLMs can take the sequence of words as an input. So whatever we give here in this text box, it's called as input, and it also called as prompt. So when you give an instructions to LLM, so generate or summarize or ask questions, it's called a prompt. So it can predict what come next, or it can summarize for you. Okay, so this is how LLMs take input as a entire sequence of words and predict which word is most likely to come next. Okay, let's see what are the tasks that LLMs can do or perform. So there are a lot of tasks that LLMs can perform. So first is it can answer questions. So it can answer questions based on certain topics, or you can uh, f- pose follow-up questions on complex topics to understand particular topic. So it can answer questions, and it can generate content. So it can generate content. You can ask LLMs to write stories, poems, songs, and even code. It can generate code. So since LLMs are trained on large amounts of data, it can create stories of its own based on the subject that you provide, or it can create poems, songs, or code for that specific uh, task, or for that uh, in whatever coding language that you are looking at. Then it can assist you in writing. So it can assist you in writing. So you can write or rewrite whatever you have written, and you can improve your writing, and also you can optimize your content. So if you have certain content, you can optimize your content by providing the input from to the LLMs. So next we have summaries. So LLM can provide summaries to the content that you provide as input. So let's say you have a big paragraph, and you give that paragraph as an input to the LLMs, then it can provide you summary. Next, we have web search. So LLMs can do web search. So you can ask you can ask the updated information uh, in the internet. So it gives you the relevant web search with the updated info on the internet. So next we have image description. Image description. So LLMs can describe the image. For example, if you upload an image, so we'll see in a bit how you can uh, do that. So you can upload an image to chat gpt upgraded version or perplexity AI, then it will describe you the image. For example, you have a dashboard image screen that you want to describe in words, so you can upload that image to the LLMs, then it will describe in detail what that image or what that dashboard um, I mean is built for. In detail it will describe in text as a summary. Next we have language translation. So LLMs can translate the language into multiple other languages. So these are the tasks that LLMs can do. So let's see as an example how does how does this task performed by LLMs. So let's see in action the tasks that LLMs can perform. So chat GPT, here we have logged into chat GPT. So first we talked about answering questions. So you can question chat GPT, then the LLMs behind it will answer the questions. So you can say ask questions, general questions like what is generative AI. So it can answer your questions. Okay, so based on the prompt that we have given. So now you can ask follow-up question. Okay, so generative AI refers to subset of artificial intelligence techniques. So you can ask what is artificial intelligence techniques. So it will give you more detail of what are these techniques. So you can keep on asking it questions and try to deep dive and try to ask complex questions. So this is just a simple question. So you can even ask complex question with an example. So chat gpt gives you the answer to that. So next it can generate stories, poems, songs, or code. So for example, you can ask chat gpt to write a story for me. So it can write stories on its own. You see? Okay. So next we can say write a program in Python to add two numbers. See, quickly it has written a program. So it has generated the content and created a Python program to add two numbers. So you can ask uh, you can ask follow-up questions, or you can refine your question. So these LLMs remember the input that you have provided previously. So it these LLMs remember that previously I have asked it to write a programming Python to add two numbers. So it remembers my prompt. So this is called prompt. So it remembers my prompt. So based on this, I can ask follow-up questions. Can you give it in C++? So I'm not mentioning the complete question and just mentioning the context. Can you give the same in C++? So it remembers my question that I have given it previously and given the addition of two numbers program in C++. I did not mention it to give addition of two numbers in C++. I just gave it a follow-up questions. So this is how LLMs remember our prompts that we have given previously, and it remembers that context, and based on your next prompt it will give you an output. S- until you change your prompt, it will remember that particular prompt. So next it will assist you in writing. So you can say write me an essay on Hyderabad, Telangana. So it can write an essay on for me. So you can improve these essay writing by refining your prompts. So now you have just given this um, you have just asked the prompt to write an essay. So you can enhance your prompt to add more specific keywords, like provide an essay or write an essay for particular time period, for particular years in the past. Also you can do a web search. So in chat gpt version 4 you have a browsing as well. So in the free version we don't have browsing. So in version chat gpt version 4 we have browsing. And also there is one more AI tool called perplexity. So here also uh, in free version you have browsing option available. So you can ask uh, what is the latest LLM available. So it will give you an answer along with the along with images that you can search, or the latest videos around it, and it can generate image for you also. So this has brought the answer from internet. So next we have image description. So you can take the image and provide it to LLMs as an input and ask it to describe. So it will describe so what is drawn in the image in textual format. So you can also use LLMs or to translate into another language. So let's say translate what is generative AI in other languages. Here you can see, so it has translated this text, what is generative AI, in various different languages. So these are the tasks that generative AI or the large language models that can perform. Okay, so there are three concepts that we need to understand in LLMs. One is weights, second is parameters, third is tokenization. Okay, so what are weights? So weights are numerical values within machine learning models. Okay, so it's numerical values in ML models that are adjusted during training to influence the model output in response to the input data, adjusted during the model training to influence the output in response of input data. So next we have parameters. So what are parameters? So it's a broader set of configurable elements in the model. So parameters include weights, and it also determines behavior of uh, it also determines its behavior and performance. So then we have tokenization. So what is tokenization? It's a process of converting text. So the text that we provided as a prompt. So it is a process of converting text into smaller units, which are called tokens. So let's say we have provided prompt. So it will convert the text into smaller units, which are called tokens, such as you can say uh, words or subwords, which is used as the input for LLMs to understand and generate language. So the input that we provide to LLMs is in plain text language. So what the tokenization process does is it converts that text into smaller tokens, into words or subwords, and provides that converted tokens to the LLMs, and that LLMs take that tokens and process it and provide as an output. So there is a very detailed um, approach, I mean a detailed session, how does this LLMs does all these process, like taking input as a text and provide output as a text, but behind the scenes the tokenization and all those things go. So we can look at this in detail in another session. For now, the tokenization, you can understand it as the process of converting the text into smaller tokens. So to understand this further, let's say you have provided a prompt called cat sat on the wall as an input to the LLMs. Okay, so what does it do is it breaks down these input text into tokens. It breaks down these input text into tokens. So how does it create the tokens? As cat sat on the wall. So it creates the tokens, and then these tokens are mapped to unique IDs. These tokens are mapped to unique IDs. For example, 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5. Okay, so these are mapped to unique IDs. Then these tokens are fed into the LLM. So let's say here we have GPT LLM. These token unique IDs are fed into the LLMs. Then these LLMs process these unique IDs by using its weights and parameters. And it processes these IDs that we have generated. So it processes these IDs and output, generates the required output as a response from the LLM. Output or response. Okay, so this was in brief how LLMs, weights and parameters and tokens work together. Okay, so let's summarize whatever we have learned till now. So we have seen what is generative AI, and we have seen what are the types of AI. So the types of AI, the terminology that is artificial intelligence and machine learning, which is a subset of AI, then deep learning Again, it is a subset of artificial machine learning, artificial neural networks. And we have generative AI. And then we have seen what is it that powers generative AI. So it is the foundation models. Then we have seen what are the types of foundation models. Then we have seen characteristics of foundation models, which are pre-trained, and it's generalized, adaptable, at large, and self-supervised. Okay, so then we have seen what is large language model. So all large language models are foundation models, but all foundation models are not large language models. So then we have seen what is prompt, how do we give prompt to the LLMs, and we have seen what LLMs can do. So various tasks the LLMs can do. We have seen example of that. Then we have seen the three concepts that are important to understand in LLMs, which are weights, parameters, and tokenizations. Okay, so this was in brief about generative AI. So there is much more to it, to continue on this topic. So that's it for until now. Let's connect another time. Thank you.